Hey everyone, this is Eric Gardiner with EXP Realty, and I wanted to do a quick video about interest rates, U.S. government deficit, because both those things are really pushing together to keep interest rates higher for longer. So let's dive in. So I was reading this New York Times article this morning. Federal Reserve officials have raised rates about 5.3% since early 2022 in a bid to control inflation. We know that's why they started raising rates, because they needed to slow down and stop inflation. Inflation peaked at like 9% a year ago. Officials predicted at their last meeting that interest rates would remain high for years to come, because originally people were predicting that they would drop next year, shaking expectations about investors who had bet on rates falling notably as soon as next year. So in the real estate market, or in the mortgage market, they were starting to push these 2-1 buy downs, where you got an interest rate buy down for the first 2 years. I just spoke to a friend yesterday. He's getting his client a 3-2-1 buy down. So that buy down lasts 3 years, which is what's going to offset this, higher for longer issue. Next up, the exact cause of the latest run up in treasury rates is hard to pinpoint. Many economists say a combination of drivers is probably helping to drive the pop, including strong growth. They're trying to slow down the economy, but jobs are still good. Fewer foreign buyers of American debt, and concerns about debt sustainability in and of itself. So we know that the government has stopped with some of their stimulus stuff that they started with COVID. So they stopped buying bonds. And we know that there's fewer foreign buyers. We know the BRICS countries, or Brazil, Russia, India, China, are trying to slow that down also. So all of those things are helping to drive this higher for longer, which, if the rates are higher, the U.S. government's going to have to pay more on their debt. The reason they've been able to borrow for so long is because their interest rate to pay on those bonds were so low. Continuing, America's gross national debt stands just above $33 trillion, more than total annual output of the American economy. So that is concerning. You're hearing this all over the news. Like, they added over $1 trillion. They added $1 trillion of debt in like 1 month or 1.5 months this summer, just because of all the stuff the government's doing and the interest rate costs. There's no consensus in Washington for deficit reduction in the form of either higher taxes or big spending cuts. And that's the problem right there. Our government is not working right now. We just had another continuing resolution to keep the government open, rather than them negotiating a real budget for our country. So then continuing, this article keeps going, but that's kind of what I wanted to hit on real quick was, interest rates, yeah, they're probably going to be higher for longer. What's that going to do for the typical buyer in real estate? Well, rather than getting a 2-1 buy down or a 1% buy down, people are getting a 3-2-1 buy down. So the first year it's lower 3%. So say your rate's 8. First year it's 5, second year it's 6, last year it's 7, then it adjusts to 8. And any of that cash left over, because that's a concession from the seller typically, if you refinance before that, any of that cash that's left over can be used to pay down the principal, can be used to, if you have closing costs with that refinance, can all be used for that. So there's efficient ways to still buy a house, and it's still a good time to buy a house. What's going to happen to the Utah economy? Prices are still compressing, like I've been saying for a year, but they're going to stay flat, compress a little bit, and then once things normalize with government spending, with interest rates, they're going to pop again. And that's my opinion. So thanks for joining me. Go to herrick.com if you want more information, or call 385-274-SOLD. That's 385-274-SOLD. Thanks.